You're watching News Mongolia on MNB World. I'm your host, Susanna Oktay. Good evening. And for our top stories, the president of Mongolia, Khurelsukh arrived in Tashkent for a state visit to the Republic of Uzbekistan. State visit of President of Mongolia to Uzbekistan, cooperation documents signed. The Foreign Minister of Mongolia meets her Uzbek counterpart. For other news, stay tuned. The President of Mongolia, His Excellency Khurelsukh and First Lady Bolortsitsik arrived in Tashkent, the capital city of the Republic of Uzbekistan, for a state visit.
President Khurelsukh and the Mongolian delegation were greeted at Islam Karimov International Airport in Tashkent by the Prime Minister of the Republic of Uzbekistan, Abdullah Nigmatovich Aripov, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Uzbekistan, Bakhtiyor Saidov, and non-resident Ambassador Extraordinary Plenipotentiary of Uzbekistan to Mongolia, Farhod Nuridinovich Arziev. This is the first state visit by the head of state of Mongolia since the establishment of diplomatic relations between Mongolia and the Republic of Uzbekistan on January 25th of 1992. Upon their arrival at the independent state of Uzbekistan, President Khurelsukh and the Mongolian delegation were greeted by the Honorary Guard of Uzbekistan. President Khurelsukh and First Lady Bolortsitsik paid their respects at the Independence Monument and laid a wreath. After the bread-laying ceremony, the director of the History Museum of Uzbekistan, Janat Hamidovna Ismailova, briefly introduced the history of the Republic of Uzbekistan engraved on the museum walls.
A joint statement on relations and cooperation between Mongolia and the Republic of Uzbekistan was signed by the President of Mongolia, Khurelsukh, and the President of the Republic of Uzbekistan, Shavkat Mirziyoyev.
The state visit of President of Mongolia Khurelsukh to the Republic of Uzbekistan is ongoing. According to the Monsama news agency, the following documents were signed. Joint Program for the Development of Trade, Economic and Investment Cooperation between Mongolia and the Republic of Uzbekistan for 2024-2026 was signed by Deputy Prime Minister Mirzakhon Samboying on behalf of Mongolia and Deputy Prime Minister Jamshid Khodjayev on behalf of Uzbekistan. The 2024-2025 cooperation program between the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Mongolia and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Uzbekistan was signed by Foreign Minister Mrs. Batsitsik Batmukh on behalf of Mongolia and Foreign Minister Bakhtiyor Saidov from Uzbekistan. Foreign Minister Batsitsik Batmukh signed an intergovernmental agreement on cooperation in the tourism sector, and the chairman of the Tourism Committee, Umid Shadiyev, on behalf of Uzbekistan. This agreement aims at promoting historical, cultural, and natural heritage sites as well as national traditions to develop tourism. Foreign Minister Batsitsik Batmukh signed an intergovernmental agreement on international road transport, and the Minister of Transport, Ilham Makhkamov, on behalf of Uzbekistan. It will enable the transportation of goods and passengers between and through the territories of both countries to third countries, fostering cooperation in agriculture, food, light industry, and transport logistics. Foreign Minister Batsitsik signed the intergovernmental agreement on air transport on behalf of Mongolia and the Minister of Transport, Ilham Makhkamov, on behalf of Uzbekistan. This agreement establishes a legal framework for direct flights between the two countries' airlines. It provides opportunities to use it as a transit point for new flights to Central Asian countries. Moreover, the following cooperation documents were signed. Agreement on cooperation in veterinary medicine between the Minister of Agriculture and Light Industry of Mongolia and the Minister of Agriculture of the Republic of Uzbekistan. This agreement was concluded to cooperate and exchange knowledge and experience in the field of veterinary medicine, monitor, control, and prevent animal diseases. Agreement on cooperation in agriculture between the Ministry of Agriculture and Light Industries of Mongolia and the Ministry of Agriculture of the Republic of Uzbekistan. Agreement on cooperation in trade, economy, science, technology, culture, and humanities between the Governor's Office of the capital city of Mongolia and the Hokhimyat of Tashkent city of Uzbekistan. This agreement aims to support business owners of the two countries to be connected to strengthen the capacity of public servants, to exchange best practices and information, hold meetings on promoting national culture, history, and tradition between the people of the two countries. A cooperation document between the Mongolian National Academy of Sciences, the National Chamber of Commerce and Industry of Mongolia, and the Chamber of Commerce and Industry of Uzbekistan was also signed. Cooperation between the Montsama National News Agency of Mongolia and USEA National News Agency of Uzbekistan were also signed.
And here's the Mongolian current affairs.
The Foreign Minister of Mongolia, Batsitsig Batmokh, met the Foreign Minister of the Republic of Uzbekistan, Bakhtiyor Saidov, on June 23rd. At the beginning of the meeting, Minister Batsitsig expressed gratitude to her counterpart, Foreign Minister Saidov, for all-round support and cooperation in organizing the state visit of the President of Mongolia, Khurelsukhna, to the Republic of Uzbekistan on the invitation of the President of the Republic of Uzbekistan, Shavkat Mirziyoyev. During the official visit of Minister Batsitsig to Uzbekistan in 2023, the Ministers of Foreign Affairs of Mongolia and Uzbekistan agreed to expand and develop relations and hold the highest-level visit, and following the agreement, this historic state visit is taking place. The Foreign Minister of Mongolia, Batsitsig, emphasized that the opening of the Embassy of Mongolia in Tashkent during the state visit is a clear sign that our country attaches special importance to deepening the friendly relations with Uzbekistan, our important partner in Central Asia. The parties affirmed their commitment to continuing close cooperation for further intensifying the friendly relations and cooperation between Mongolia and Uzbekistan and enriching the mutually beneficial cooperation with new economic content.
The government of Mongolia completed the renovation of a 21-megawatt thermal power plant in Birch village, Khinty province. The 40-year-old power plant's heat supply infrastructure underwent a comprehensive renovation, with 4 kilometers of heating lines and 2 heat transfer subcenters becoming operational. Prime Minister Oyerden attended the opening ceremony. The commissioning of the renovated power plant brings the following benefits. Approximately 448 households, enterprises, and official organizations will have access to reliable and continuous heat energy. The facility's thermal energy processing capacity will double. 48 new jobs have been created. And connecting households and businesses to the central heating network will reduce air pollution. The power plant originally opened in 1984 with an 18-megawatt capacity.
Now let's take a look at the currency exchange rates provided by Bank. And now let's pay attention to the international news provided by our partner agencies. Chinese President Xi Jinping met with his Polish counterpart Andrzej Duda in Beijing on Monday. Xi held a welcome ceremony for the Polish president outside the Great Hall of the People on Monday afternoon before the two headed into a room for bilateral talks.
Xi described Duda as an old friend of the Chinese people as well as himself and said that relations between the two countries have shown resilience. Xi said China is willing to continue its traditional friendship with Poland and promote a bilateral relationship to achieve better development and to inject more stability and certainty into the chaotic international situation. Duda said Poland and China have built good diplomatic, political, and interpersonal relations based on a mutual respect over the past 75 years. He said Poland will play a role in strengthening China's relations with the European Union and extended an invitation for Xi to visit Poland next year. Officials from both sides later signed agreements on bilateral trade and investment cooperation as well as exports of agricultural products. Chinese Commerce Minister Wang Wentao and Polish Secretary of State at the Foreign Ministry, Władysław Teofil Bartoszewski, signed a memorandum of understanding on bilateral trade and investment cooperation. Chinese Director of the General Administration of Customs, Yu Jianhua, and Polish Secretary of State at the Agriculture Ministry, Jacek Czerniak, also signed cooperation documents.
A fire likely sparked by exploding lithium batteries swept through a manufacturing factory near South Korea's capital on Monday, killing 22 mostly Chinese migrant workers and injuring 8, officials said.
The fire began after batteries exploded while workers were examining and packaging them at the second floor of the factory in Hwaseong City, just south of Seoul, at around 10:30 a.m. Fire officials said, citing a witness. They said they would investigate the cause of the blaze. The dead included 18 Chinese, 2 South Koreans, and 1 Laotian, local fire official Kim Jin-yeon told a televised briefing. He said the nationality of one of the dead couldn't be immediately verified. In the past few decades, many people from China, including ethnic Koreans, have migrated to South Korea to seek jobs. Like other foreign migrants from Southeast Asian nations, they often end up in factories or in physically demanding and low-paying jobs shunned by more affluent South Koreans. Also, 1 factory worker remained out of contact and rescuers continued to search the site. Kim said that 2 of the 8 injured were in serious conditions. The fire started at one of the factory buildings owned by a company named Aricel. Kim said the victims likely failed to escape via stairs to the ground. He said that authorities will investigate whether there were fire extinguishing systems at the site and if they worked. Kim said a total of 102 people were working at the factory before the fire occurred. Prime Minister Han Duck-soo, the country's number 2 official, and Interior and Safety Minister Lee Sang-min visited the site later Monday. Han asked officials to provide government assistance for funeral services and support programs for victims' relatives, according to Han's office.
The reconnected U.S.-built pier off the coast of the war-torn Gaza Strip cannot supply Palestinians with anywhere near the level of aid they need, the head of the World Health Organization's Eastern Mediterranean region said Monday.
The organization says that since Israel's ground operation into Rafah, aid delivery has declined by 67%, with over 50 World Health Organization trucks stuck on the Egyptian side of the crossing into the southern city. Meanwhile, just 3 trucks were allowed into Gaza through the Kerem Shalom crossing.
Of course, the WHO is welcoming any types of routes, but the more efficient route is the land routes. And the pier has supported a little bit, but it's not to the scale that is needed by any stretch of the imagination. So we need to emphasize on the land routes to ensure the amount and the quantity and the efficiency to support the people in Gaza going through the land routes.
Israel's war against Hamas, now in its 9th month, continues to face growing international criticism over the US-backed campaign, which has caused widespread destruction in Gaza and taken a huge toll on civilian lives.
We continue to serve the people. We continue to do all of our efforts to make sure that we can evacuate as many as possible. So those are taking place, but again, not at the level or at the capacity that is needed. I can give you a clear number on this one. We're talking about close to 10,000 people in Gaza need health care and need to be moving out to receive that kind of health care. But it has been quite challenging. We're talking about the basics of health care, the basic medications, the basic equipment. We're talking about the basic food supplies. We're also talking about the needed delivery of simple issues that will help, or simple commodities that will help improve the hygiene and the health of the people in Gaza. Purification equipment for water, for people to drink clean water, specific basic food amenities. So almost everything is being prohibited, and some of the needed commodities are being delivered. But as I mentioned, not at the scale that is needed for the people of Gaza.
Israeli ground offensives and bombardments have killed more than 37,400 people in Gaza, according to the territory's health ministry, which doesn't distinguish between combatants and civilians in its count. Israel launched the war after Hamas' October 7th attack, in which militants stormed into the southern Israel, killed some 1,200 people, mostly civilians, and abducted about 250.
Now let's take a look at current affairs around the world.
The smoke was seen rising over different areas of southern Lebanon after Israeli strikes hit the area. The Israeli army said on Sunday that its fire jets struck a Hezbollah military structure in the area of Qiyam and Ramia in southern Lebanon. In a statement, the army also said that it fired artillery toward Alma al-Chib. Lebanese state-run news agency reported that Israel targeted the forests in the border town of Kfar Kila with phosphorus bombs, causing fires to break out. The Associated Press couldn't independently verify the claims. Hezbollah said on Sunday that its fighters carried out 3 attacks targeting Israeli posts in Sheba farms on the Lebanese-Israeli border, causing fires and destroying infrastructure. The Israeli military and Hezbollah militants have been exchanging fire since October 8, the day after the Israel-Hamas war broke out.
And here's the weather forecast for the world's major cities. Well, that's all for today. Thank you for staying with us. We'll see you on Wednesday with more stories and updates. Have a nice evening. Goodbye.